I accept this burden that you place upon me. Who's wearing their clothes better right now?
Are we
All
ready?
of us?
That's a dumb question, and we're going to ignore it.
We can't see you, so I don't know. No,
Believe
the
it or
time
not.
doesn't
the
matter. It's
fact
the
that
substance of the conversation
Dave
that
was the
matters.
one that interrupted instead of me.
Welcome back to the Jack of the Shadows podcast, episode 14. I'm Eric VC, and I'm joined by my gaggle of garden gnomes, David and Adam. Please introduce yourselves, gnomes.
I'm gnome number 1.
There is no harmony in the universe.
That was gnome number 2. In this episode, Tom's back. We will
Yay.
celebrate the return of our favorite
Tommy
Gleeman
boy.
since chapter 26 of book 1 in A View from Dragonmount.
Which literally is like a book ago.
We
since
will...
we're on chapter 25.
Yes. We'll revel in Jordan's sartorial obsession with who wore it better, check the wins with what shook your willow, talk about our protagonist in Get Randy, see what is going on with the Children of the Light and Tighty Whities, and figure out the exotic Shan during Chan Chan Chan. Before wrapping up with our
Chan.
Coplin of the Week
1, 2, 3.
and who
Chan,
leveled
chan,
up.
chan.
So let's scale the lonely mountain and get a view from Dragonmount. So last week we read chapters 19 through 24, watching Rand rescue the Horn and journey toward Kyrien, while the girls were exposed to life in the tower and Nynaeve passed the test to become an accepted. And this week, in The Great Hunt, we read chapters 25 through 30, watching Rand enter Kyrien under escort and rejoin Tom, who is performing in the town. Tom's in a relationship with Dina, who is training to become a bard, and Tom declines Rand's invitation to join him in taking the Horn to safety. Discouraged, Rand and Loyal head out to Kyrien's foregate and are attacked by Trollocs dressed up as puppets before Selene appears and finds a door that leads into the Illuminators Guild courtyard. The Trollocs follow Rand in, but Rand creates a fire as a diversion and escapes with Loyal, and Selene disappears again. We then return to Perrin and Ingtar, who have a strange encounter with an Aiel looking for some savior they call He Who Comes with the Dawn, before being whisked away to Falme, where our old White Cloak friend Joffrey Bornhald tries to figure out the foreigners that have attacked the area before he disobeys and returns inland to face them. On the coast, Bael Domon is captured by the Seanchan Egianin and is brought to her master, the High Lord Turok, who takes Domon's seal and adds it to his own collection. We then return to Rand, who receives an invitation from the king and his rival before he and Loyal head out in search of Ingtar. They get nowhere with the guard and at the gate and return to the inn to discover a fire and the horn stolen. The segment ends with the appearance of Matt and the remainder of the party headed by Ingtar. And that is our view from Dragonmount for the week.
That seems like a whole lot more than what I read.
Right,
Well
I
done.
know.
Well done. I do have one problem with it, though. I do not consider Bornhald a friend.
So that is the survey of the landscape for this week. Let's survey a little attire now and see who wore it better. So I'm going to read a brief description of a character this week, and you guys are going to have to guess who it is.
We're keeping
Go.
the
All right, here
energy
we
up.
go. Breeches as baggy as the shirt sleeves, both in a soft yellow with embroidery on the legs of the breeches and across the chest of the shirt.
So who wore yellow?
Breeches.
Who is this poison?
Someone
Who is wearing breeches?
Who wore yellow?
Oh!
Oh!
Ew.
Is that,
You
Is
do
that-
this
does-
every
does that person
time.
have a
Oh, is
shaved
that?
side of
Oh,
his
I
head?
don't know. No,
Dave?
it's nobody with a shaved side of their head.
sounds like a person on a
Oh,
boat.
it's not? It's not Turok's sidekick?
It is not.
I know Min likes wearing breeches, but,
Not
It's
yellow.
Tamuz, the
hasn't been
Illuminator.
Temu. Oh gosh, the one that
Tamuz.
what's her face? Aludra hates.
Yes.
Tamuz, you great
the
oaf.
Illuminator. Tamuz gets battered about by Aludra, but no worse than a willow in the wind. So let's talk about our most interesting moments. What shook your willow this week?
So we meet an Aiel, and they have a conversation with an Aiel, and Varen is very interested in it, and she gets some history from this. How do you pronounce his name? Irian?
His name is Urian.
We learned through him a lot of the more history that we know of about how the Aiel refer to their land, and then Varen is just really digging into this guy because he refers to her as a wise one. So there's a lot of information that is brought up through this fellow. So he definitely shook my Willow.
Well, I mean, have we met an Aiel before? No.
No.
Other than maybe Rand.
No, right, yeah. So we haven't met any of these guys before. The Faldarans are completely surprised to see an Aiel on this part of the world. They haven't been over since they attacked Cairhien.
Right.
Yeah. Not since
So this is
the Aiel War.
Right. So that's a shock. And then you don't see them unless they want you to. Like they're like, the only reason we can see this guy is because he's because he deliberately wants to be seen. Otherwise, we would only know he was there after he was putting a knife through us or one of their spears.
I love how my favorite part of that moment was Perrin and Matt. Matt's like, I think they're looking for Rand. Is that Rand?
Yeah,
he who comes with the dawn.
Well, and they also and Matt is also like, hey, those dudes do kind of look like Rand.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Perrin nudge.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
And of course it's Matt because, jeez, Matt.
Oh yeah.
Well, he's always going to be the one who's more willing to believe stuff that isn't positive. And from Rand's point of view, him not actually being of Emmons Field descent is not positive. And
that's true.
Yeah.
Even though it's true.
And Matt has no problem, being the one to speak that out loud. So this moment, it gives...
This magic moment.
Gives us a lot to think about. So, yeah, it's a great observation and a great moment for the week, Adam.
Well, he talks about Rhydian. It's this magical place that you have to go to if you're going to be a powerful person.
Well, if you're going to be a
wise
leader,
one or a leader,
a wise one or a clan chief.
Yeah, so Varen is very interested in that.
Yeah, Varen is all about this conversation.
Well, because he thinks she is a wise one. So
because they look similar.
Yeah,
they look similar. Right. So,
but then she pulls out the fact that she's an Aes Sedai, and he's like, "Oh no!"
Yeah, there's some past history there that we know nothing about.
Right.
Yeah, but
she knows nothing about.
He is willing to dance with the lightning that she might bring, so that's
right.
Cool.
Yeah, he's ready to get it on if he needs to. Yeah. Him and Veronica Vaughn. Yeah, he is fearless, literally in the face of death. He's really kind of cool and interesting that he's ready to go and he's ready. Are you going to kill me now? And she's like, what? What are you talking about?
It's such good writing, and
they obviously have a strange relationship.
Describes where he's from, and he says, "You call it the waste. To us, it is the threefold land. The shaping stone to make us, a testing ground to prove our worth,
to break us or something." Yeah,
these are some weird people.
Fascinating.
No, it's just a sharpened stone. It's amazing. They're
Spartans. They're Spartans.
Yeah,
they're a war culture.
Sin. Mm-hmm. It's the wise one and the clan chiefs. They will not speak of it. They talk about this sin.
Something that they did.
The reason why they're in the threefold land to begin with. The reason why they're being punished. It
seems like a very important point to bring up.
I
have no idea.
There's a lot of mystery. So
terribly mysterious.
So that is,
and like you said, Varen is just lapping it up. All right, that's mine.
That is your Willow moment for the week. Mine was the Illuminator scene. So
Tamuz, you great oaf.
Yes. So Aludra and Tamuz and even Selene for a little bit there.
Oh,
Selene finds, of course, finds a way for them to escape the Trollocs. She finds that Loyal Assure wasn't there a second ago.
Think of the glory,
and
think of the honor.
I don't want the glory or the honor.
But think of it.
I told you I don't want it already.
Be the greatest ever.
I don't want any of the peril.
Shut up and think of the peril.
But think of this.
It's very perilous.
Maybe you should think of it.
They get into the Illuminators Guild, which apparently is another dangerous place because Loyal's like, well, we could escape there. They might kill us also. So
Regulator.
this is a crazy, like, who are these people?
Well, side note here.
They light
that's
fireworks.
This is another instance of Loyal just not talking fast enough.
Oh,
Like
because
they get, he's like,
Rand.
Rand, and then they get inside. He's like, oh, they're gonna kill us.
I
if they
was
find us
trying
in
to
here."
tell you.
They needed to get it. They needed to get in
say.
there anyway. They needed to get in there anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's either the potential death of the Illuminators or the for sure death
Right.
by the hands of the Trollocs.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
And normally where there's Trollocs, there's Fades. So you got to think of that too.
So they sneak in, and we get this wonderful scene between Aludra and Tamuz.
Tamuz, you great oaf! I just like saying
She's
that.
just belittling him.
I feel
left and
bad for
right.
the guy. It wasn't his fault.
Well, that we know of. Apparently,
No.
he'd committed serious errors before this.
Either that,
Yeah, but this wasn't his
right?
fault.
For all we know, one of those errors was just giving Aludra lukewarm coffee.
I mean,
What if
quite
it was
obviously
just
one of
the
the
same
biggest
thing
errors was
over
what he
and
was
over
wearing.
again? It's something that he didn't do. It was just something that someone
He continually
right.
is in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Exactly. So they get in there. Obviously, the Illuminators make fireworks. They sort of they've got them lined up on these long rails.
And they also make impressive weapons, apparently.
Well, right. So Rand knocks them over and aims them at a bunch of Trollocs and blows out half a wall and
and the
lights
Trollocs.
Way to go, Rand.
and lights the guild's adobe, or it's not adobe, it's plaster. They have a
lollipop
plaster
guild.
home, whereas most of the homes in Kyrian are stone.
They did.
So right, so he lights that on fire, and they don't tell anybody what happens. All the people of Kyrian
Right.
know is that one firework went off way too early, and that was it. And it was a weird night in Kyrian.
And the walls came tumbling down. Yeah.
This is an interesting introduction into this world. Apparently,
Tamuz, you great oaf!
this is not the only location. There's another guild of
This is
the
just one
Illuminators.
chapter, yeah.
Right. This is the only other house, and this apparently was an extension that was created because the king wants to keep his people distracted through entertainment. So,
yeah,
rather
that's
than
interesting,
solving the
though, is
problems,
that
yeah.
they are hired by this guy who seems to be the number one.
Galdrian, right? Galdrian is the name of the king.
Yeah,
Illuminator.
Right. And
Galadrian. What?
Galdrian.
Galdrian.
That was
was
what
number
shook
2
my
guy.
Willow this week, David. What shook yours?
Deus Damar.
Dies
I
Damar.
find Deus Damar very interesting.
Me
And
too.
especially Rand's,
So did George R. R. Martin.
yes, Rand's whole not wanting to be any part of it, unlike George R. R. Martin's writings, where everyone wants to be part of it. Rand blatantly, almost pig-headedly, wants nothing to do with this, so much so that he's willing to endanger the life of himself and all his other people with him by chucking letters in the fire, by not paying any attention to anything. Though I love the moment at the very end where he kind of buys into it and he winks at the innkeeper when he's going out of the place, kind of like, hey, I know what's up. Do you know what's up? I know what's up. Do you know what's up? I know. Do you know?
Does he?
Do you? Do I? Yeah, he winks at him. It's just a great a great aside moment. He's feeling
No, I mean,
excited.
does Rand know what he's doing at that point?
I think he does. I think he does because he's like, all right, let's see what they make of this. And so he winks at him and he takes off and he's chuckling, he's laughing about it. So he does know what he's doing.
He sort of does it as a last resort because he doesn't know what else to do.
There isn't anything else to do for him because
Up to this point, he's been burning the invitations.
he's either been burning them or ignoring them.
No, he's been burning them. He's been chucking them into the fire.
And so, he didn't burn the first two. He just ignored them. He tore them up or whatever. And now he's got the 2 letters from the 2 most powerful people, and he simply has no clue what to do with it.
Yeah, but they bring it out into the living room and air it out.
Yeah,
in
and he
front
looks at him and
people.
kind of like, look at these.
What has I got here?
Let me leave now. And then he leaves, and then all the Trolloc madness breaks out. But yeah, I think it was just fascinating political intrigue that's going on that apparently literally everyone in that whole stupid city is a part of.
And Tom apparently knows about it.
Yeah, Tom, why does that not surprise me? Tom knows about everything.
Yeah, I love the guy.
It's just interesting how, like, literally everyone from the lowest of low, everyone's spying on everyone, everyone's reporting to everyone, everyone's got something to say about something, and then you've got the lugubrious innkeeper who's like, but what are you doing, Rand? You can't do that. Yeah, so I liked it. I found it interesting and fascinating, and I for sure think we have not experienced the last of it.
We will see.
So that was my Willow.
There was one other person who ignored the Game of Thrones, and he got his head cut off at the end of the first season.
Oh, yeah, that's a well.
So ignoring palace intrigue isn't always the best way to stay alive.
Yeah.
Well, there's that.
We'll see. We'll see what happens with this.
Yeah. So that's Dies Daymar. We learn a lot about Dies Daymar from Tom and Hurin. Yeah, they are the ones who seem to have the who
Hurin
keep
knows a little bit about
Rand.
it, but it's like he doesn't really want anything to do with it. And
right. I mean, Tom.
Loyal apparently seems to know about the city because he's been here before.
Tom's our man of the world. He's
right,
the
he
one.
passed by.
Yeah, and Loyal's the learned one.
But doesn't want to be there because he's afraid there's going to be other Ogier that's
Other
going to recognize him.
Ogiers.
Ogier that will recognize him, yes.
All right, so Willow gets pushed about in the wind, and so has our protagonist. So let's discuss his trials and tribulations this week. It's time to get Randy.
Time to take a bath.
So we learn a lot.
Only you and I get that.
We
Adam.
learn a lot about Rand from Tom. Actually, he runs into Tom, and Tom and Rand is plying Tom to try to figure out about the Dragon Reborn. So he's asking him about the Carethan cycle, and Tom comes forward with this. Twice and twice shall he be marked, twice to live and twice to die. Once the heron to set his path, twice the heron to name him true. Once the dragon for remembrance lost, twice the dragon for the price he must pay.
Don't look at my palm, Tom.
And then, and then Rand is like, no high fives
Anyone
for
got
the
any
rest
gloves?
of this evening.
Yeah, my hands are
also
cold.
touches his little lapels. And he's like,
dragons.
these things.
Right. So
he
Tom
says something
looks,
about there are
Tom
5
looks
of
at the
them or
herons
something.
that are on his coat, and then Rand is Rand makes a joke, and Tom
The
is
one
like,
with his sword and his sword hilt.
and Tom also admits that he thought that Rand was the person that Moiraine was after, but
Guess
now
what?
that not right.
Oh.
But now that she's not with him, he's like, oh well, it must have been one of the other two.
So, one thing before the second. Moiraine told Rand that she thought that Tom was alive, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And then now Moiraine gave Rand those clothes to be wearing.
Yes.
And then Tom notices them. That's some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And then also
Moiraine is
Master
how in
Gil
the
also
world
thought
did
Moiraine is
Tom
setting him
think
up somehow.
that Rand
setting him up or letting him
that
prove
Rand had
that is who he
like
is.
why did he think it was Rand that they were after?
Probably Tom's just goofy intuition.
Yeah, but it seems like he feels like he knew he could channel.
Or the fact that he just pays
No.
attention to the fact that, like, probably Rand, crazy things happens around Rand. And
Yeah.
Rand is just, like, once again, Rand is the man of action as opposed to Perrin who lets things happen to him. And Matt tries to get away from everything. Rand goes after everything.
Of the three boys, I think Rand was obviously a leader.
Well,
So
he
it-
says for a time, boy, I thought you were the one Moiraine wanted, and I even thought I knew why. So you just think that's why?
No, he suspected that Moiraine wanted one of the boys because they could channel. That's what he's alluding to when he said he thought.
Why that is, though, we don't
Right,
know.
okay.
Right. We have no idea why he would have thought that. But yeah.
But it would have to be a serious reason for an Aes Sedai to go to the backwater woods nowhere land to get one of 3 kids. So what else is it going to be?
I'll mention
He makes
another
really good sweet cakes.
I'll mention another prophecy of the Carethan cycle here. Tom mentions twice dawns the day when his blood is shed, once for mourning, once for birth. Red on black, the dragon's blood stains the rock of Shell Ghoul. In the pit of doom shall his blood free men from the shadow. So twice dawns the day when his blood is shed. Tom can't figure that out. I think we can at this point, because we know that from the prologue of The Eye of the World that the dragon dies on Dragonmount, and it's also prophesized that he will be born on Dragonmount as well. So we have that. Another really interesting thing here is it's brought up. We've been wondering all this time why the Aes Sedai have been really eager to gentle all men who can channel. And Tom mentions here that it is not well known that the dragon will be the one to save the world, that is buried in the Carethan cycle as well, and that is not common knowledge. And that, in fact, most people who think of the Dragon Reborn think that he will fight with Shai-Tan and not against him. That's something that we're just really kind of learning for the first time here. And then Rand also gets into Tom's nephew and is trying to figure out, we learn that Tom's nephew lived for 3 years before he was finally captured by the Aes Sedai. And that it was during the last year, the townspeople thought he might have been going crazy, but for 2 years, he really had a handle on things. And so Rand gets a little bit of encouragement there, but then also ultimately realizes, no, he is eventually going to Mr. Self-Destruct.
Well, here's so Tom's ticked off he's ticked off at the Aes Sedai about gentling his nephew, but yet it sounds like it had to happen because his nephew was going crazy and was going to kill people. So what's he ticked off about? Like
family.
He's mad that they saved the town from this. What's the few against the many, I suppose? But I mean, yeah, it's family, but do you want to be or hold on to the guilt for being responsible for your family killing an entire town, let alone who knows who many other people?
He recognizes that there's cognitive dissonance there. He recognizes that it needed to be done. He admits that.
Then what's the justification behind the hatred for the Aes Sedai? Because hatred for someone is a pretty strong.
What's the justification for Nynaeve's hatred of Moraine?
Bigotry.
There is none.
Yeah.
It's
bigotry, sure.
He has a gut reaction to the way that his family was treated by.
But there's a difference between a gut reaction and hanging on to that.
Yeah, some people do that.
I think it's really really cool that we have Tom back. Because we learn a lot of stuff with just
we get more harp
language.
playing, harp and flute and juggling.
Well,
and long mustaches.
A couple of other things about Rand. It's interesting. Celine's reactions with Rand. We get
She's
more
getting
of
really
it now.
ticked at him.
She observes him with a clinical eye. Every time she looks at him, she seems to be somebody studying something under a microscope. So she obviously has designs on him.
Or a cat and a mouse.
The wolves mentioned to Perrin this person called Shadow Killer that was involved in the rescuing of the Horn. So we know
Rand's picking up some titles.
Yep. So now Rand is called Shadow Killer by the wolves. And yes, it's pretty obvious that when Urian refers to he who comes with the dawn, we're talking about Rand there as well.
It's pretty obvious.
Seems like it.
Seems like it. Yeah. We don't know. We don't know enough about the Aiel
maybe
to know
it'll be
that,
Matt.
Right.
Maybe he'll get some brands on his hands.
So
the Aiel didn't say that though. That's not the Aiel prophecy. Remember, that's the it's the prophecy of the dragon or whatever, the Carethan cycle. That's not Aiel prophecy.
Tom telling him that, and the old tongue.
So while Rand has lost the Horn of Cairhien, Joffrey Bornhold and an army of children of the light patrol the Almoth Plain. Let's get into Tighty Whities.
Tighty Whities.
Tighty Whities.
I would rather not get into those.
So on Almoth Plain, we have Joffrey Bornhold, Jarrett Bayar, and the children of the light.
Bayar.
And Bornhold is patrolling around, and he is coming into a town where a bunch of people are strung up, and he even mentions that he's been in towns previous out here where children have been amongst the dead. And he suspects that the questioners are just out there sowing the seeds of love.
As if you thought the children of the light were bad, the questioners are even worse.
Well, they are,
and apparently
they are part
in
of the
control.
children of the light.
Yeah, they are, but they are a part. But as you notice from Bornhold, they're part of them, but they are apart from them too.
Well,
they're their own little weirdness.
But they're in control.
For
they're
all
trying
we
to
know, that
move him around.
Well, they're in control by orders from above.
Yeah, they don't seem to usually be in control of the group that he's controlling, but in this particular case, they do seem to be the ones in charge. this is fascinating to me because this is the religious element of the book. These people are the only organized religion that we know of in the book. So they have this place in this world, and they seem to be the only group that is actually keeping a sort of codified version of what's right and wrong. And if you look at at the light as being the power of goodness because there is a God in this world, there is a creator in this world. If the light,
whoever he is,
and you don't see his hands thus far.
He's a clockwork god. He's somebody who wound the clock up and just lets it go. And so the light is the right side of good and evil in this world, and they are the keepers of that. They are the enforcers of that in the world,
at least in their own mind, anyhow.
And
100%.
yeah. I mean, this is the Inquisition. This is the Spanish Inquisition. It's just living out over an extended. Well, the Spanish Inquisition went on for a long time too.
Other Inquisitions.
But then you have two different arms. You've got the army, and you have the questioners who are,
the torturers. It sounds like
right who just torture people. So what I like about Jeffrey Bornhold here is he seems to be a pragmatic guy. We met him first when he ran into Perrin and captured Perrin, and even then he was really pragmatic with Perrin. I mean, he basically told him, "Look, you're going to die, but you're going to have to die because you killed somebody."
Well, he's the type of person that's going to give you enough rope to hang yourself. This is what he did with Perrin.
Well,
he just kept saying, "Tell your story," and in telling your story, you're just going to prove the fact that you're a dark friend. Because we believe that any communication with wolves therefore makes you a dark friend.
But
I think he's taking orders and following.
I don't think that. No, I would think that that's what Jarrett Bayar suspected.
No, Bayar just suspects if you're not a white cloak, you're a dark friend.
Garbage.
Otherwise, then the entire rest of the world would be dark friends, and he doesn't believe that every person in every village is a dark friend.
No, he absolutely does. Until you prove that you're part of the light, you are part of evil. He's a zealot. They mention him being a zealot.
He is a zealot.
He's a true believer.
But a zealot doesn't believe that everybody who's not in the religious hierarchy is a sinner. He believes that. Yes, he absolutely believes that because Perrin was with the wolves, that he is a dark friend,
and
for
Egwene
sure.
by proxy.
But
even though she didn't do anything, she didn't kill anybody.
Bayar does. Bornhold does
not.
No,
I'm not saying it about Bornhold. I'm saying about Bayar.
Right.
No,
yeah.
You're right.
No, Bornhold does not because he's pragmatic, and we see
he's pragmatic here.
Right. We see evidence of his pragmatism here.
I don't think we
in that he
to this point, to this extent, because he seems to be
much more so here because now he's going against his orders and he's going against everything he's supposed to do by once again what he thinks is, and we would think to seem to be, the right thing to do.
And he seems disgusted by the questioners. He seems disgusted with their tactics and the way that they're going about handling this. What do we call it? An invasion into Almouth Plain? I mean, they're not invading, but they're
the
children.
The children are invading. They're foreign soldiers into a foreign land, so they're absolutely invading.
Right, because their homeland is Amadisha.
Yeah. But they're not even.
Who knows what
they're outside of?
Their homeland is Amadisha, but they're not a ruling body. They're just a entity. They're not part of the kingdom of Amadisha. They're just their own little thing.
Well, the Vatican City is not a ruling body within Rome, and yet the Vatican City in Rome is an entity, is a city that polices itself, and is its own head, even though it's inside of Rome.
They got their own cash.
The Vatican and the priests are not invading another country for war here. That's what these guys are doing, though.
We don't know what they're doing because they're not.
Well, we now know what Bornhold's doing.
They seem to be upholding whatever they believe to be true.
They're searching out dark friends, apparently.
Yeah. Which one would think they would be doing
that's
wherever
very interesting,
they went.
though, because that's where Bornhold is just like, nah.
Yeah, I don't really believe that Bornhold believes that's what they're doing, because that's a little odd.
It's specifically brought up that he just is like, there are not dark friends that are out here. They're on the plane.
Right. Yes. Which he heads now to Almouth Plain and specifically Toman Head. And
to take on the Shan-Chan.
Shan-Chan. So let's hash out what we know about these foreign invaders with a little chan-chan-chan.
Do the chan-chan-chan.
So we learn what we know about the Shan-Chan through Bornhold and through the Aes Sedai a little bit several chapters ago, and through our good friend Baal Doman,
who reappears yet again.
Love Baal Doman. He's just popping his head.
Poor Baal gets screwed over.
I think we finally learned that these are, in fact, descendants of Artur Hawkwings.
Well,
seems like it.
Seems
I mean,
like it.
they're
There's
coming from across the sea, and then they're coming and they're claiming it that it is their land. So.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I mean, they use words like the Helene, those who come before,
the Empress, may she live forever.
The Empress,
the Ryagel, which is those who come home, the Kareen, which is the return. There's a lot of language that they have which would suggest that, if nothing else, they think that they're the descendants of Hawkwing. And then
the watch.
They have Aes Sedai on leashes that that
they have women who can channel on leashes.
Well, right. Yeah. That use their ability to hurt other people.
So not Aes Sedai.
Right. So
quite the opposite of Aes Sedai. Quite the opposite of the Three Oaths.
This also would fit into the Hawkwing idea because Artur Hawkwing hated Aes Sedai. So it would make sense that his descendants would also hate women who could channel, and instead of letting them work on their own.
Back at Hawkwing's time, though, there were not leashed women fighting the Aes Sedai.
There couldn't be. Those women were in the White Tower. They were Aes Sedai. So it would
this
make
is a whole new breed of.
Well, no,
it's probably
it would make
it's
sense.
Clear what happens. What's happening is they're taking their boats, they're invading land, and they're taking young women that can channel.
Oh, that's what they're doing. But they brought these women over, and also from
sure they probably did it before.
Empire.
It would make sense that wherever they come from, that
somehow found a way
women
to do
who
this.
channel grew up amongst them. But rather than allowing those women to congregate and find a center of power for themselves, they leash those women like animals and use them as weapons, which would
you
creepy.
think it's them that it's people that grew up amongst them? I feel like we're given evidence that they're just kidnapping people.
I think it's both.
The fact that they're kidnapping women doesn't mean that
they're just adding to their ranks.
Yeah, it's not a contradiction. Okay. It's just a further extension of their ethos, which is these women are not to be allowed to
they're a menace to society.
Not be allowed to gather together. Yeah. They're a danger.
Super creepy.
Yeah, very, very creepy.
They wear these crazy Chinese insect helmets and have this amazing insect-like armor, which seems to be focused on flexibility rather than just sheer weight.
Also creepy looking, so you're terrified of people you're fighting.
Beasts.
Yeah, they got weird.
They have Grom. They have Grom.
Well, it seems like they're Grom.
Well, they're
described.
described.
They haven't been named that yet.
Well, but I mean, they're described like Grom.
Yeah. From that other weird land, the land of far away.
Right, that crazy dream world. And then their all of their furniture is really ornate and curvy.
And also, is that not odd that
boats.
Selene knew Grom, but the Grom came over with the Shan-Chan? So has she been to the Shan-Chan Empire?
Well,
how does she know this?
Convinced that these are Grom?
If they are,
they
it seems like
they
seem like an identical description. If they are, and if they came with the Shan-Chan from their empire, is that where they were then?
Further evidence of Selene's exotic knowledge is the fact that when she and Rand were being attacked, by when they were under fire from the fireworks, he landed on top of her. And she cursed in some language he didn't know,
and then elbows him in the short ribs.
She knows a lot of stuff. She's keeping a lot of secrets.
Think of the glory.
Yeah, she knows where doors are that weren't there before.
Right. Yeah.
So are we saying she created that door? or she was just able to
No,
see it?
she just knows about it.
Okay.
It sure seemed.
I'm not sure what to think about
It sure
that.
seemed like she
I
might have
don't think
created
she
it.
created. Well, maybe she did, but at least
I don't
she
know.
knew about it, which is very
Loyal
strange.
thinks to
We've seen
himself,
no
I did
example
not
of her
see that
having-
door there a second ago.
We've seen
I have a question.
no example of her having
How
otherworldly
on earth
power.
did she have enough time between them getting back to the inn? How did she get back? How did she write a note fast enough?
That's a good question.
She might have written that before. We
Yeah,
don't know.
maybe she
We don't
had.
know
I
when it
guess
was written.
so. She probably has 3,000 of them prepared.
Right. She's got letters set to the side.
Back to the Chan.
Sorry.
They also
Chan
have
Chan.
servants who walk around in gauze, apparently.
Or
Oh
less.
yeah, they have servants.
Filmy.
And this High Lord Turok apparently has enough wealth to have a bunch of Quaindiar.
Quaindiar and a whole
Yeah, he
boatload
really
of it.
likes collecting.
Like enough to buy a nation, according to
I'm gonna
Domont's
be your
thoughts.
friend. You're a collector too.
Yeah.
Meh.
Yeah.
What was he slurping? His
So-
cough. He's slurping his cough. That's what it was.
This calf.
Ah, the aroma
Right,
of cough.
calf, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, what's up with that? What is that?
I'm
It's
guessing it's like
coffee.
coffee
Yeah, it's coffee.
or like espresso
Just
or
like
something.
tobacco is tobacco.
I would love to be presented with coffee from someone I've never had it, and it's from someone that really appreciates it.
would not
I
be
guess it would
Hills
be the same
Brothers.
way.
I'm sure.
You're
Hills
not
Brothers.
doing it the
I'm
right
sure it's
way.
very. I'm sure it's very similar
Drip
to.
is better.
I'm sure it's very similar to the coffee that they drink in the Middle East, which is very very strong. And,
Turkish coffee?
Yeah, Turkish coffee.
Well,
yeah,
And yet these
exactly.
people seem to be more Chinese.
I don't know.
He's
think
drawing
it
from
was
everywhere. He's drawing from a lot of different
Chinese or
influences.
Language. I'm pretty sure it was Asian. I think Bail Daman gets a level down.
What?
He lost the seal to the Sean Chan.
Yeah, through no fault of his own, he tried to outrun them, and then eventually he
He's-
got
he's
smart
doing-
and went,
I
"These
think
women
he's
are
doing
just going
all
to
right.
blow my ship up."
Kind of a big thing to lose to a bad people.
It is so.
Yeah, sure,
Since
but
we're
he had no
talking
choice.
about these, how many of these are we aware of now? 3. There is Rand has, or Moiraine has one. Domon has one,
And there was another one that the Sean Chan had.
and
so 3.
right, and Turok has one.
Yeah. But one of them is broken as far as we know.
Correct.
Yeah.
Is crumbling
It seems like the other 2 are okay. Otherwise, they would have mentioned that.
in some right. Yeah. So. These people have a tremendous amount of wealth, but it also seems like Quaindiar is a lot more common where they come
What
from.
have they been up to?
He's been up to collecting Quaindiar apparently.
Well, I know. It's just very strange. We hear
Maybe on
rumors
that other
about
side of the
them.
ocean they have more.
Yes.
Why did they
Well, no, he
leave?
does. He makes the
Like,
observation
we're
that I
done
understand
here.
that this is a lot less common
Yeah.
here than it is where in Sean Chan.
Yeah.
So
I'm curious about this Sean Chan land. Like, my
yeah,
word, it's got to be like pretty crazy.
Sure. It's like
apparently they,
Spanish people giving money to
so
They got
Who was it?
strange
a guy with
beasts,
a boat.
one of the
leashed women.
Aes Sedai mentions that a colony of Hawkwing's descendants are there waiting for these people to return.
Right.
That was a theory. They've arrived. They're making people swear oaths.
The Watchers that were supposed to be watching.
Oh,
Right.
yeah. Everyone's scared, but they're able to carry around
Right,
their weapons.
right. They're taking over these towns, but then once the people swear oaths, it's like, all right,
They're
you
just
people are
trusting
cool.
them.
Yeah, because they're apparently
Trust them until you
They
kill
have-
them.
right.
They have
If
the
you
atom bomb.
disobey,
You're dead.
Right. Well, you're not just dead. Like they have those watchers who are in cages that you just get hung out until
I think that-
starve to death.
I think that's a specific person.
That's one. They take over after the other one
Right.
dies.
So that was like maybe that was like the ruler that they stuck in there, and then he died, so they put someone
no,
else in
and
his
then
place.
they've forgotten what the reason is.
Right. They don't remember what they're supposed to be watching for, but they're being punished for it anyhow.
They're very
What a great,
sucks.
yeah.
They're cruel people.
Yeah. It's-
If
don't
you
like these
disobey.
people
Right.
at all.
It's
There
But
seems to
they
be no
really
redemptive
don't mind
value.
Domon.
Right.
Dolman.
well, Torek.
He's a
Turok,
fascinating storyteller.
Likes
Bill Doman.
Doman. Yeah.
I do be
It
having
really
a good
found
story to
his,
tell
His
you.
hiding place was not very good.
So
Well,
we will.
they had the power to use to find
Yeah,
it.
they had people that could channel that could be feeling that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
it's
can
true.
they? I mean, Can I say
What happened to the
since
other
Queen
little
DR?
figure?
Well,
that he had
it
in
is
there?
that
Did they
isn't
not
even
take
just
it?
Quaindiar. That's a seal on the Dark One's prison.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
probably emitting some sort of "Hey, look at
Signal.
me."
Right.
Hey,
Yeah,
guys.
exactly.
It can be.
Here I am.
They go through those things you see beachcombers with.
Right.
Oh,
The
wow,
metal
yeah.
detectors, but this is like a power detector.
Maybe that's what this. Maybe this is what Turok the dinosaur hunter is like.
Oh,
Just-
man, that
he's
game.
going to the beach
I
on the
forgot all
weekend.
about that game.
So
Turok
that
the
is
dinosaur
the Sean Chan.
1, 2, cha cha cha.
And now we can talk about our Coplin of the week. So who was the person of the week you found the most irritating?
I'm going with the innkeeper.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He was irritating. He kept trying to get Rand to play the game, and Rand did not want to play the game. And but Rand,
Play the game tonight.
he was that was yeah. I didn't like him.
Quail, that's the innkeeper's
Quail,
name.
the innkeeper. Yes, he's laying some
Okay.
eggs.
He seems to know how to play the game.
He is an oily dude.
Yeah, he is.
But so seem many of the Kyrianen. So,
except for Moraine.
right. No, Moraine is not
Yeah.
oily. That is sure. That's for sure. So mine is the census keeper or whoever that guy is at the guardhouse
that
that
guy
refuses
sucks.
to help Rand.
The bookkeeper. Yeah, the
Yeah.
guy keeping. Yeah.
Yeah, and Rand is like, hey, here I am again. I'm looking for the same people I told you I was looking for yesterday. And the guy's like, oh,
was that?
yes. Remind me again who those people are. And
Yeah.
he's, Ingtar. You remember me asking about Ingtar? Oh, yes, Ingtar. No Ingtar here today. Okay. How about the lady Celine? Oh, who? The lady
Yeah.
Celine? No, can't say that I've seen her. Okay, and then
You have
who
a
is
few
it?
more in you?
Who is it that
Right.
comes?
That was like a combination
I
of
like that.
Seth from Superbad and like something else. I
Wait
don't
a
know
minute.
what.
Then the guy that they met at the inn who made them have the escort before they came to town
No, you
appears in
picked
the
one.
door behind him. And he's like, "Hey, there's that guy. I know that guy." And he's like, "Oh, what guy? Oh, that guy? No. Don't know that guy.
There he is. There's Seth again.
Thanks for coming in. I'm not at the inn. I'm behind this desk."
I think we just need to keep listening to Eric say random things in that voice.
I love it. I'm all about it.
That guy
Mine is just
is a creep.
Celine.
Just
Just
Celine.
leave.
Yeah.
Just Celine.
Oh, she does leave. She's good at that.
I know, but it's
With
good at-
letters.
She's good at
You're
coming and going.
fishy. She just shows up outside
Whoa.
of the city.
Would you
Hold
rather have
on.
Celine
Hold
around
on.
or the Sean Chan?
She doesn't just show up. She shows up to rescue them.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
If she doesn't show up, they're screwed.
Maybe.
Well,
Maybe not.
Better yet.
Really good with a sword.
How does she know where they are?
Yeah, good
Well,
question.
that- I
'cause
mean-
wasn't there some creepy? Yeah,
She
maybe she
continu-
was the
she
old lady that
continuously-
handed him the note.
She continuously
Right.
appears out of nowhere. I mean, she's
Yeah.
constantly
It's like
showing
she's
up.
watching them. Like she's always watching them. She's got
Right.
to know where they are somehow. So some way she's watching them. She's spying on them to figure out where they are. She's apparently pretty darn good at it because they never really see her or figure out that you know who it is watching. But she appears when they need her. Because like you said,
Yeah.
otherwise they were totally screwed there.
Yeah.
And then she gets pissed off at Rand and disappears
Yeah.
because he's not looking for the glory.
Right. Yeah. Because he doesn't
Yeah.
want the glory. But
Yeah, but she is annoying, Adam.
So as annoyed as you are by her, she does
She
help
served
them
a
out of a
purpose thus
bind.
far.
Sure.
But
I don't. I think that they could have. Well,
But that was my
whatever, it's
question.
outside
Would
of
you
the
rather
story.
have her around or the Sean Chan?
At this point, her.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
so that's your compliment of the week. It's Celine. All right. So it, who leveled up this week? David? Who is your leveling upped?
Rand. Yeah. He
Okay.
he once again
Why?
in the midst of the chaos he used the fireworks. He fought the Trollocs. He killed the Trollocs with the sword again.
I love the way those Trollocs come at him. He's like, man, that
Something's
puppet
not
looks
right.
weird.
Yeah. Once again, he's slightly
creepy.
observant enough to figure it out that
Couple of dark friends
that he's
alongside.
not walking the right way that a marionette's supposed to be walking.
Dance
I'm really hoping we get to see that moment, because I would have so much fun with that as a director.
He starts playing the game a little bit, even reluctantly, playing a little Dace Damar.
Yeah.
He did a bunch of things. He kept the group together. He hung on to the horn for as long as he could, and it wasn't his fault that it got lost. I mean, Huron ultimately is the one that lost it because he got conked on the noggin. You have to wonder if Rand was there, would he have been able to fight him off, or would he have used the power? And that was couple interesting moments when he was trying to reach out to the power and wasn't having any luck. So that's
right.
You're
something to pay attention.
You're missing
to.
his best moment of the week.
Oh, am I?
You are.
Even though I'm the one discussing it.
You are.
How am I missing what is my most interesting things? You're fired.
You're actually getting there now. I mean, when the scene when he goes in and rescues Huron from the burning inn is incredible. I mean, he climbs in, he's coughing on the smoke. Everything is getting incredibly hot around him. He kicks in the door.
Well, also Loyal goes in there as well.
Right.
Loyal is right behind him, right?
Tag team.
He kicks in the door, and Huron is there. He rescues Huron,
Clonked on the
pulls him
noggin.
out. The building collapses behind him. The room falls in behind him, and he gets him outside.
Yeah.
And then he
also
loses it
gets
because
his
Matt
flute
shows up,
and
and he's like, "You're too
And
late.
then Matt is there, right?
You're too late.
Yeah.
he breaks down.
Too
Yeah.
late
He
to
starts
apologize."
All right, mine is Tom.
Who?
Tom Bombadil.
Maryland
Who?
leveled up. Tom Maryland.
Just keep talking at him. he's pulling your chain.
Oh, I see. I thought you couldn't hear me. No, Tom Maryland, because he faced the Fade and he survived with a leg wound.
Yes, apparently the Fate had no interest in him.
Well, but that was
And then
that was
after
a
that,
book ago.
he met a babe.
Okay.
and
Well,
was
this
like,
is,
He
What's
did.
up?
what's her name?
Yeah,
It's
Dinah.
It's all about Tom.
It's Dina.
In the kitchen with Dinah.
Yeah, nobody's in the kitchen with Dinah.
Tom is.
No.
Tom's in the kitchen. He's in the
Dinah's-
bedroom. He's
She-
everywhere.
He's cooking up some stuff.
Dinah's not in the kitchen. It's Dina.
He's cooking up some hot sauce.
I did say.
Or
no,
Denna.
Some hot stuff.
Denna.
Okay. So
Hot stuff,
that's a good
baby,
one to level up.
tonight.
Why? What are your reasons?
What are my reasons for Tom being my who leveled up this week?
No, he
He's
has to
not.
tell
I thought
you.
you
He has to
said-
tell you the most
I thought you
interesting
said
thing that you
Dina
missed
did.
about him.
Right. Yes.
No, you're missing the most important thing about Tom, Adam.
Yeah, there are several things you're missing about Tom, but I won't
See,
tell
there
you
you
what they
go.
are. Since David
Since
is
it's your
ruining it
topic.
for me.
Yeah.
So my person who leveled up this week is Jeffrey Bornhold. I know you're all surprised by
good
this since I
choice.
just sang his praises during our
choice.
Tighty
Yeah, you really
Whities
liked him.
segment. But it's about, it's nice to see somebody in this organization acting rationally.
Yeah.
So he seems to be a man, even though like we didn't like him because he captured Perrin and was sending Perrin off to his death.
He was going to send him to the questioners.
He looks around. He looks around himself and looks around Almouth Plain and says, or Falmey, and says, the only people that I see here who are dark friends are the Seanchan.
Whom he hasn't even met yet.
Right.
Right.
And we have, and I'm not sure they're dark friends. They're just invaders.
They probably have dark friends amongst them.
But-
It seems
right.
like everybody does.
But the children of the light,
Yeah, they're everywhere.
as you mentioned
They
earlier,
are
David,
everywhere.
the only people that are dark friends to them are just people they don't like. So he leveled up for me this week. He seems to be a recurring character, so I'm sure we're going to run into him again, and I am interested in him and what he is going to be doing from this point forward.
Yeah, good call.
I feel like we had a lot more discussion than what I felt like I read, like you said earlier, Adam. Like
Oh, yeah.
Coming into this podcast, I was thinking about it. I was like, boy, is this going to be, we're not going to have a whole lot to talk about, but we had a lot more to talk about than I felt like we did. So that was good.
Oh yeah.
Phew! And that wraps up episode 14 of the Jack of the Shadows podcast, covering chapters 25 and 30 of The Great Hunt. Join us next week with episode 15, when we'll cover chapters 31 through 36 of Robert Jordan's The Great Hunt. This is the VC boys wishing you and yours safe returns.
You had to get the few in again. You can leave this whole segment in. It's fine. Just keep going.
No,
it's kind of funny
I'm not going to
that you
leave it
want.
in.
It's important. That was an important thing for me to say.
Totally agree. Totally agree with. Do the woo again though.